Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to a recap of night 79 of the overnight feeds for Big Brother season 26. A good Sunday to all of y'all. All right. Yes, we had some conversations in the Big Brother house. We'll talk about those in the live feeds. A little bit of a chill night as to be expected, but we'll talk about those. The big news, though, yesterday, I guess we'll say overnight, this didn't even happen inside the Big Brother house. All out on social media. A supposed, alleged, rumored tape has been released, feeds released by someone within production of Rabina and Tucker supposedly getting very friendly with each other in the HOH room. Yes, something unauthorized. I have not seen it. I don't know if it's true. I'm not out there looking for it, but it seems like that's all I saw people talking about when I was checking out the some of the social media yesterday. So yeah, that's the big buzz. Tucker and Rabina, and is there or is there not a video of things that a little private there? Inside the Big Brother house, there's nothing private. There's a part of me that says, you know what, if you're gonna fool around inside the Big Brother house, you kind of take whatever risk it happens. But at the same time, if it's an unauthorized leak, that's a little bit problematic. But that was the big talk yesterday. I don't know if it's true or not. So I'm not going to comment on it any more than just mention it because it is a topic. All right, let's talk about what's actually happening inside the Big Brother house, because that's the important stuff. First of all, as a reminder, we've got Rabina and Cam on the block. Mackenzie holds the veto power, so she'll be deciding who is evicted fourth place, joins the jury, and who is going to move on to the final three with Chelsea and Mackenzie. A big choice to make. Maybe it doesn't really matter that much. It could, you never know. But Mackenzie's certainly feeling a little torn on that, and we'll talk about that in a second. So let's talk about the feats themselves. House guest, production realizing that these house guests have gotten as boring as we know they are, watching the live feeds as well. So they did give the house guests some alcohol, a couple of bottles of wine, a couple of decks of cards, some Chinese checkers, a backgammon set. Yeah, what this cast really needed was a bunch of checkers, because it's all about checkers, not chess, right? For some folks, but yeah, they got some games to play. Uh, they played it a little bit yesterday, but they did a lot more napping and laying around and just biting away long periods of time while they wait for the next eviction occurring for this finale to happen. All right, so we did have the house guests get a few things to try to keep them entertained. Uh, we did have a little bit later in the day, in the afternoon, we've got Chelsea in the backyard giving her final two speech, practicing it. It's probably good that you practice, because I think there's a very good chance that Chelsea will be in the final two. So Chelsea's practicing her speech. It does give us a chance to kind of hear what her pitch is going to be, and I think it's a good one. She's talking about the fact that she's only been on the block once, that she's had a lot of influence in the house, that the power of her words had a lot of influence even when she did not hold HOH or veto, that she still was able to influence a lot of things. She also knew when to stay quiet and develop relationships. I think that's a great one that people overlook sometimes. There's so many people that, whether because they want to make good TV or they're just upset and want to confront someone, there's people who immediately take any information they get in the house and go blow it up, house meeting, and blow it up in front of everyone. Chelsea's talking about as her practice that she didn't do that she was sometimes quiet about it. She chose to ignore some things that she had found out about and develop the relationships instead with people that she thought were vital to get her to a final two spot. All good pitches. I think it's good. She's talking about the fact that winning all the comps or a lot of comps is not necessarily ideal in the game of Big Brother. I think that's fantastic as well. I was trying to listen to this pitch and determine if, based on the way she's talking about it, if she is envisioning being up against Rabina or Cam versus Mackenzie, because I think that Mackenzie takes Chelsea if it's her decision. If Chelsea has the final two decision, would she take Mackenzie over Rabina or Cam? Remember, she already told Cam that Cam is her final two. So listening to this, it certainly sounds like Chelsea maybe is preparing to have Mackenzie there. Maybe it's just a matter that Chelsea figures if it's not Mackenzie there, her speech pretty much can be just standing up, say, "Yeah, I deserve it more than the other person. Thank you very much. I'll take my check now and be done with it." But yeah, we certainly got to hear a little bit about what Chelsea is going to be talking about. I think it's pretty good based on what I heard. All right, we've got, as I said, lots of napping going on. The backyard is open, so people enjoying the backyard, doing some laundry throughout the day. A lot of napping, and Big Brother not necessarily calling them out on it too much either. We did have Mackenzie and Chelsea going over comps, days, things like that for a memory competition again. Now, as I mentioned a second ago, Chelsea's already told Cam that he is her final two. I'm a little surprised that Chelsea is spending so much time practicing with Mackenzie, considering it could be the two of them at the very end, competing against each other on a memory type competition to see who gets to decide who goes with them to a final two spot. So a little surprised with that, but I suppose at this point in time, the highest priority is make sure you get to the final two. And if she can work closely with Mackenzie and help cement that bond, she's got to figure even whatever additional threat she puts into Mackenzie with her helping, it's more than benefited by Mackenzie feeling tighter with her. And Chelsea's learning from Mackenzie as much as Mackenzie's learning from Chelsea in terms of memory days and all that. So the two of them are working with each other as they continue to try to make sure that they make it to those final two chairs. All right, we did have some conversations taking place between them, primarily about Mackenzie and wondering what she is going to do with this veto power that she holds. Mackenzie is saying that neither Cam nor Rabina have talked to her at all about veto, about what she's going to do with it. They've just left her alone. Maybe it happens a little closer to the ceremony itself. Maybe they just are leaving it in Mackenzie's hand and just what will be, will be. Not sure, but she's saying, yeah, neither one of them has talked to me about it so far. She's saying that she really doesn't want one-on-ones with either one of them at this point in time. Doesn't want to hear them begging or making all kinds of arguments. She just wants to make her own decision at this point in time. So we may not get one-on-ones from anyone. Now, she does say later that Cam had mentioned that maybe he'd like to talk to her. Rabina hadn't. And she actually is using that as a bit of an argument for maybe keeping Cam of, hey, maybe he wants it more than Rabina if he's willing to at least talk to me about it. We'll see how that pans out. But yeah, neither one has talked to him so far. MJ saying that she's not sure what to do, that she feels it's a matter of staying loyal to Cam, even knowing that he would cut her if he got the chance, or make history with Rabina. And I suppose that's having 3 women in the final 3 and 2 women in the final 2. And we already know I think we've said 5 women in the final 2 over the past 24 seasons. But anyway, she's saying, do I stay loyal to Cam or do I make history with Rabina? But she's also saying that even though she just got through saying that she knows Cam would cut her, she also says that she doesn't think either one of them would choose her. If it comes down to Rabina or Cam, either one, she thinks they would choose Chelsea over Mackenzie. So maybe not her biggest issue at this point in time. Chelsea is saying, we could talk about it as much as you want, and who would take you and who wouldn't, Mackenzie and all that. She says the reality is neither one is likely to win this thing. Neither one, I think it's her who said one of them is going to have to win more comps in these final 3 comps than they've won all season long. It's just not going to happen. And that is the way it would work. Remember that you have the first leg where all 3 people compete. Whoever wins advances to the final 2 comp. The next competition was with the 2 people who didn't win the first one. The winner of that advances to the final 2 comp. The 2 winners go against each other, and then they get to choose. So, yeah, Rabina would basically need to win, theoretically, one of the first 2 comps and the second one to have, again, to be able to have that power to choose what she's going to do. So Chelsea's saying, yeah, neither one's likely to win no matter what. Mackenzie is talking and curious about who would be less upset in jury. She's thinking maybe Rabina wouldn't be as upset at me in jury as Cam maybe would be, because Cam maybe is thinking I'm a little more loyal and all of that. So she's thinking about that a little bit. Chelsea is saying that she thinks that this is going to be a very mature jury this season. I disagree. I think this jury is going to be petty. They're going to be bitter. They're going to base it on who was nice to them, who wasn't nice to them in terms of gameplay and all of that. Chelsea and I are disagreeing on that point. We will find out in finale night here pretty quick. All right, Mackenzie at one point says she's done talking. And Chelsea says, well, then just listen for a little bit. Uh, yeah, Mackenzie does a lot of talking, not Leah level talking, but does a lot. Mackenzie says she's tired of it. She says she can't talk about herself anymore, and she's tired of hearing the same old stories. Lord, I remember Final Four sitting in the house thinking, God, there cannot be another story that my other house guests are going to say that I haven't already heard 50 times, over and over and over again. You love the people you love some of the people you're in the house with, but certainly you get tired of hearing, you just want to move on, see new faces at this point in time. It's wearing on these house guests. So yeah, she's tired of hearing her own stories, and she didn't want to hear anyone else's either. Chelsea is saying that the only way that Cam or Rubina get to final two is if they win the final comp and drag Mackenzie or Chelsea into the final two, which we just kind of covered a little bit a second ago. Chelsea is suggesting moving on to the actual gameplay part and then to life after Big Brother. Chelsea is suggesting that, hey, Mackenzie, yeah, you could make out with Matt at the rap party, and I'll find someone to make out with also while we're at the party. So yeah, well, we'll see if that happens. They don't record the rap party, so we won't know if that's the case. I have a feeling we would find out if that was such a case. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll find out. All right, Chelsea is saying that she feels comfortable beating, I think, either Cam or Rubina in the final three. Mackenzie actually asked this question: "Hey, Chelsea, who would you feel more comfortable? Who do you think your chances are better at beating in a final three comp?" As far as who we take, and Chelsea saying, I can beat either one of them in a final three comp. You can too. It's not a big deal. She's Chelsea is saying that Rubina expects to go to final three, that she really thinks that Mackenzie's going to drag her to final three. That Rubina also said that Cam knows that he's getting evicted, and that's why he was moping around so much earlier after some of these comps, is because Cam fully expects to go and Rubina fully expects to get taken to final three. Mackenzie says, I don't want anyone thinking that they're going and that they're going to final three without working for it. She said, Chelsea, you worked for it. I worked for it. Whether Cam or Rubina goes either one, they're getting drugged. And basically, they better be appreciative of it. Don't just assume you're going. You better be fighting at least a little bit to get there. I'm hearing a lot of things from Mackenzie that suggest to me that she's probably leaning towards taking Cam, sending Rubina out the door. Mackenzie's saying, look, Rubina's talking about that Cam's all nervous because he thinks he's going home. Rubina better be just as nervous. She better be nervous as well, because nothing is guaranteed at this point in time. Mackenzie is saying that if she did have to pick now, right now, this very second, please let that be the case, Big Brother. Just go ahead and get it over with. If she had to pick right now, she would take Cam over Rubina. She says that she carried him. Everyone will recognize that she carried Cam to a large degree. Whereas with Rubina, she's worried that Rubina may have a good story to tell, that she'll talk about having been on the block for 5 times, that she had a showmance with the biggest threat in the house, and therefore there was blowback on her that threatened her game even more. And so she overcame so much. And Mackenzie's just thinking Rubina may have a little bit more of a connection with the other house guest and an underdog story and things like that. So a little more worried about Rubina. Chelsea is mentioning as well that they need to be aware of the votes that Rubina would have. She's saying T-Core and Chemo obviously will not only vote for Rubina, but they're going to be fighting for her in the jury house as well. We've got to be aware of that. And she's saying, and Angela very well could be supporting Rubina as well and using her own influence. So certainly it is something these two have to think about. I don't feel like Cam has the same connections on the other side of the house or the juries as Rubina does. And so, yeah, they got to think about that a little bit as well. She's saying T-Core, Chemo, maybe Angela, all are going to be fighting for Rubina. Keep that in mind. Chelsea says also keep in mind that Rubina is a better speaker than Cam, and that she's better liked in jury. Forget just even people fighting for her, just in terms of general likability, that Rubina is probably better liked. So it seems like Mackenzie's leaning towards keeping Cam, but it certainly seems like Chelsea is very much pushing for Mackenzie to keep Cam. And we know that Chelsea has a lot of influence when it comes to Mackenzie's HOH and veto decisions. All right, Chelsea again saying that 2 women have never sat in the final chairs. Wrong. But 2 women have never sat in the final chairs. And Mackenzie saying, I want that. I want it to be the 2 of us. I kind of want it to be the two of them also because those are the two who deserve it. But you aren't making history the way that you think you are. It doesn't matter. You still deserve it. You still need to be sitting there. All right, they eventually they talk a little more game. They go back to some of the same topics again, but eventually they move on to non-game talk about church, public speaking, etc. Mackenzie at one point says, "Yeah, I'll go on talk shows and say, yeah, I'm met this guy on TV and married him, and now we're doing influential talks and all of that." So yeah, I'm not ready to buy into a Mackenzie show match just yet, but hey, well, who knows what'll happen? She's talking about it. I don't think she was actually serious, but yeah, a little talk about church and Bible and public speaking and things like that. Non-game talk. Meanwhile, while they're talking a lot about this, we've got Rubina and Cam downstairs. Rubina building a card house. I didn't really see them ever playing these board games like we expected. Playing, I think they had some dice because I did see them playing dice games. So they also got some dice. Oh, I guess that's from the backgammon set. So I'm playing that, but in some card games, but not so much else. But Rubina's building a card house. How funny would it be if the final three competition involved building card houses, and Rubina is going to do nothing except that over the next few days, and suddenly she's going to be an expert and she'll win a comp over Chelsea and Rubina because they're upstairs talking strategy. She's downstairs just playing around with the deck of cards. We'll find out. Hey, maybe production will come up with that just to create a little more interest or a little bit more uncertainty for these last few days. But she's downstairs building a card house, talking to Cam. They're talking about music festivals, Coachella, and mosh pits, and just music in general, what they like, things like that. Zero game talk that I heard whatsoever. Just enjoying their someone's last few days in the house, and just realizing it's to a large degree the power's out of their hands. Now, again, they ought to be up there pitching as much as they can, but not so much yet. Maybe that'll happen a little bit later. So there you have it, guys. Mackenzie staying in. Remember, Mackenzie holds all the power, but it's Chelsea's HOH. But that doesn't really matter to Mackenzie. She's up in the HOH bed with Chelsea, where she tends to hang out uh, for all of Chelsea's runs. They were up still talking 4 o'clock or so, Big Brother time. At that point, I said, yeah, let's shut it down. There's nothing new going to happen at this point. It wasn't really game talk going on. So there you have it, guys. Again, the big summary for the day, I suppose. Outside the Big Brother house, this allegation, rumor that there's a tape out there of Tucker and Rubina. Inside the house, Mackenzie debating what she's going to do and seemingly leaning towards keeping Cam, and Chelsea pushing that angle as well. So with all that in mind, I really expect this final eviction. It wouldn't be final, I guess, because we'll lose the the third person as well. I expect the next eviction probably to be Rubina, which will give us a final three of Cam and Chelsea and Mackenzie. And then we just have to see what happens and who gets the final decision on who to take with them to finale night. All right, guys, I hope you have a great Sunday. I'll be back tomorrow morning to give you an update on all the crazy happenings inside the Big Brother house. I'm sure we'll have all kinds of stuff. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.